Alright, so these I'm calling the high mounts, because I got the switches high up on the hilts. That's my creativity at work. I'm not gifted with the words. But I did have to engage a little bit of the gray matter to figure out how I was going to actually do that. So they're just sort of projects that have been sitting around for a while. This is obviously the one of the fridge sabers that I pulled all the brown tape off of it and swapped out the back end. And this is actually a Sith Marauder that I had started before Tor even came out, based on the trailers and stuff. But inevitably changing the emitter because I couldn't figure out how to actually do that. Or maybe I just sort of had it sitting forever because it's been sitting in a drawer for a couple of years. But anyway, so yeah, I got the switch up here. This is using a Crystal Shard version 1. And this is a 12 millimeter anti-vandal with the red ring, and then this is the PC3 with the activation and aux right there, and a this standard crystal chamber that everybody makes out of the MHS chassis discs. So I just did it this time. So yeah, the differences, actually the similarities I should point out first, is that they're pretty much black and silver with the brass highlights and accents and stuff all over the place, but not enough so that it's going to be a major color, but enough to sort of augment the black and the silver and stuff, and I thought it turned out pretty well. This right here, it says Eastern 57 macro off, but on the other side it's actually like a serial number, and I always pictured those, like the Sith Marauders, when they show up to do their job at the Sith Army, they get, here's your lightsaber, make sure you remember the serial number and you're responsible for what happened to it, and they're like, well, you know, what about the armor and the mask and a really cool cloak and stuff like that? And they're like, well, you just kind of have to wait till the next station to get that. So that's what was going through my head, so it gives you a little insight what goes on up there. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep moving, pretend that the awkward doesn't happen. So this one, like I said, is a Crystal Shard version 1. The blade plug is just a 20 millimeter AV switch that I put down on some sandpaper and just did this thing, and the switch actually depressed, so it sanded the bezel and kind of frosted the switch face. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, it's running Nightfall. It's got a lead engine red, running at 1.5 amps. Actually, it's running at direct drive because it's a Crystal Shard, and then the single 18650 swap. PC3, not a PC3.5, because it's just a Cree XP-L, straight white. But 3 sound fonts, I got 1 amp, 2 amp, 3 amps, and holy flying bitches and ads, 3 amps. It's just a really bright white. I did some demo vids earlier, which I'll either add to the end of this one or post separately, but yeah, really, really super bright. Give you some sort of example here. Blade plug. Put the white one in here. TCSS trans white. And this is a 7/8 inch. So to give you an indication, that's your lead engine red, pretty bright, 1.5 amps, comparable to the Crees, the new red Crees. That's 1 amp. Let's go straight to 3. No point beating around the bush, huh? So again, 1.5 amps for red, and then yeah, it's kind of nuts. Can't really tell now that I'm looking through the camera thing, but Looks cool to me, but yeah, crystal chamber is just blinking. All it is just literally just TCSS chassis discs that are all stacked up, and then they got a big huge groove cut out of them, and interspersed with brass discs, and that's about it. So, boo. A little bit of V2 weathering. Yeah, sweet. And that's about it. The end. Alright, so we're going to do this old school. So you couldn't see the other one, but so I got the Cree XP-L at 1, 2, and 3 amps. And then I have the Rebel White at 1.5 amps. So let's see here. Alright, so this is 1 amp. Amp and a half. Looks fairly comparable. The halos are a little bit different. So there's that. Here's 2 amps. Amp and a half. Very noticeably different. The halo is a lot bigger. Not that that's really an indication, but that's kind of what I use sometimes. And 3 amps. Let's do this one first, just because. Alright, so that's almost look like 2 amps based on the halo from before, but again, looks can be deceiving. Okay, you can definitely tell it's brighter, but yeah. Didn't turn out the way I was hoping, but hey, you get the idea. So, and well, that's about it.